Good evening. Good evening. This is episode 9 of series 2 of Imitating. Yes, we've had a bit of trouble getting guests this week, but you stuck with Largo and me, which is good enough. Yeah, two's good enough, I think. Largo, my mate. Yeah, Largo, my mate. How are things?
Can't complain. Temperatures dropped a little bit here, so we've got some rain, which is welcome. Yeah. I've survived the week. How about you?
Well, survived the week. Well, yeah, okay. Yeah, well, I must have survived it as well. I think it's quite interesting. I had a profound moment this morning, actually, funnily enough. And I came up with a new phrase. We're going to talk in generalities, I think, about the workplace in a minute, aren't we?
Yeah.
I'm not how do I approach my work? This won't surprise you. I'm not somebody who. I'm not a kind of hustler or bustler. I'm like a Rolls Royce. If that makes any sense. So I kind of,
a Volvo, perhaps.
No, I'm like a Rolls Royce or an Aston Martin. I'm like.
I always like myself a Volvo.
All right. Yeah.
Reliable. Doesn't matter how cold it is. You turn the key in the ignition, it starts.
Yeah, I get that. So, but the thing is, and I was having to think about cricket players who would be good fits. It's all like Martin Crowe or Joe Root now, right? So, that's that thing that, like, I came up with the phrase, don't rack a Rolls Royce, right? This happens a lot in workplaces. Like, if you've got a good person whose natural pace is quicker than average, right? The worst thing you can do with a person like that is that whole "work harder, you bastard" thing.
Yeah.
Actually, if you've got good people who are actually naturally quick, leave them alone to it. But I think we'll talk about workplace in a second. One of my workplace gripes from my working life has been that thing where you get people and they want to push this narrative that they kick the work out of you when you would have done it anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
what was that episode of The Simpsons where Homer's like, he gets made the boss of this workplace, but his boss is like this Bond villain.
Hank Scorpio.
Hans Scorpio, that's it. And Homer just walks into the office and there's these guys working. Work harder. Yes, Mr. Simpson.
Yeah. Where he goes, which country do you dislike most, France or Italy? And he's got the cruise missile point.
Yeah. France. Nobody ever says Italy.
Yeah. So that was my kind of So right. I mean, you. We both work for a living. I always have. I've got to be a little bit careful. We'll talk about workplaces generally and observations we've made.
Keep it general. No anecdotes.
And I know you've got a few gripes, and I'll throw a few of mine in as well. So you've watched a gentleman called Aaron Knight, haven't you? And I just stumbled upon him recently. Interesting guy, interesting channel. We can't all do what Aaron Knight has done. I think that's the one thing he forgets. We can't all go out and set up our own business and become free. There's only. How do I put this? There's only so much that is in much the same way as we can't all be directors of companies. We can't all get promoted. Right? It's like
any dog leave.
And there will always be working steps in the world, right? And Aaron forgets that sometimes, and it could all have gone pop for him as well. By the way,
yeah.
Different break of the ball, he'd be back in the call centre. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
But it's an interesting channel, and it's interesting content that he puts together, and he does make some interesting observations to make me smile. So the one about I remember writing this one years ago and getting a little bit of heat for it. I cut a good promo that day. Remember the one where I wrote about the fake workplace family?
Oh gosh, yes. We're like a family here.
Yeah, and I got good God, yeah, that went down like a fight in church, as Mr. Cornett would say.
In what way? Where did you get heat for it?
Well, in the workplace, there were people who didn't like it, people who didn't understand what I was talking about. But if you've ever been,
it wasn't like written warning heat.
No, it wasn't disciplinary heat, but it was like that wasn't a good idea, and you've upset people heat. Now, that's interesting because
they don't have to listen to us.
No, they don't. And at the end of the day, they can just read it and say, "I don't agree with that."
I mean, there's a reason I don't buy the Daily Telegraph.
Yeah, or the Mail, presumably. You don't buy that either.
Yeah, the Daily Mail. I mean, I'm fine that they exist, but I don't read them.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes people don't just want. Yeah, they haven't got the capacity to just hit the off button, or just read an editorial in the newspaper and go, "Well, that's a load of shit," and close the newspaper and go to the bar. Yeah, I mean, so some people don't have that capacity. They have to get sort of emotionally invested, and there is this thing now, because I think we're living in quite narcissistic times where people think, well, if I don't like it and I don't agree with it, then I've got the right to try and shut that person down, which you haven't, by the way. But Aaron Knightley was making this point about this whole kind of fake family thing, and there were simple things like, if you're say, let's say your face doesn't fit, you're not flavor of the month, yeah. Well, let's see where your family is then. If you're struggling, let's see where your brothers and sisters are then, right? No, they'll be off down the fire escape, but we never met. What happens when you leave? How many of them do you stay in touch with? Very few. And I do think some of the things that he identifies. The one that made me absolutely laugh hysterically because it's so true is the one where he said, "Stop working so hard." Right? No, I think everybody's got a natural pace, Largo, and I think you should find it and work at that. Right? Don't give yourself a bloody heart attack. Right? Trying to. Right? Aaron's right. You're not going to be any better thought of. Yeah. Two, if you have the heart attack and die, do you want us to think they'll build a statue of you outside? Right?
So I know the end of their life and thinks, "I wish I'd worked more."
Yeah, that's a great quote somebody wrote about unpaid overtime as well. So the only people who will remember you doing unpaid overtime are your kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you hardly ever see them.
Teaching is a great the education system. I'd imagine in the UK as well as Spain will collapse without unpaid overtime.
Will it? Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the teaching profession. Obviously, I've got mixed feelings about. I mean, they do get some quite nice holidays. By the way, that's also true.
They do, but have you put it this way? Next time you see an horrible group of kids milling about town centre, bus station, wherever, he's their handler. You know what I mean? Like a lion, like handlers at the zoo. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to do it. I don't think you would either.
I've never applied. I can tell you that.
It's horrible. It's an horrible job. It's like nursing. It's just an horrible job.
I mean, to me, that's a bit like when people talk about like discipline in schools, and it's a bit like when people have a go at football for football hooliganism, and the point is that both these things, whether it's adults or children, these are
the UK is considerably worse than Spain in terms of teaching profession.
Right. Yeah, I mean, but these are society problems. I mean, actually, by the time kids get into high school, say, a lot's already gone wrong in their lives at home. You know, maybe,
by and large,
sorry, mate.
British kids, by and large, are
Yeah.
like, I was watching something on Times Radio YouTube channel, and they're talking about. I mean, even the discipline in British schools is so extreme. Like, the kids aren't allowed to go to the toilet. They have to take their pen out. They have to face forward and follow the teacher's gaze around the room. Failure to do that will get you a detention. It's like, it's not nice for the kids. It's not nice for the teachers. It's just a situation I don't want to be part of. But for some reason, the powers that be in the UK want to cultivate it. They want to turn the UK into China. You know.
Well, that doesn't even sound like discipline in the classic sense to me.
I'll send you a video. I'll send you the video.
I'll certainly give it a watch. I mean,
the people that are suffering are people in the UK, the children who, through no fault of their own, have special educational needs, and this system just doesn't cater to them, and they're setting them up for a life of substance abuse, unemployment, trauma. It's cruel. It's cruel.
Well, I was going to say, that doesn't sound like... I'm all for discipline in schools, by the way. But that's not discipline. That's a kind of weird... You mentioned China. It's a kind of weird authoritarian pettiness.
Yes.
It's what I call the traffic warden disease. I've got a little bit of power and I'm going to behave like a complete arse to demonstrate it to you. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's, look, you know, actually when you go to school or when you go to work, right, there are things that you are there to do, and nobody's saying you can't have any fun, but you go there for the productive task first and have fun second, right?
Yeah.
And it's that straightforward. And you know, I mean, you know, you do see other classrooms and other things that happen in schools where you've got kids running riot. You even got kids bringing weapons to school occasionally.
But I would argue that if the system wasn't so restrictive, people wouldn't feel so repressed and behave like that.
Well, look, I think the other thing that you've got is the actual content. I mean, I've not been in a British school for about a quarter of a century, but is the content boring? I mean, the other thing is,
I'd imagine boring. Yeah, it's incredibly.
Yeah,
and irrelevant.
Yeah, if you've got bored people, look, bored. I mean, do you remember when you were a teenager? Say, you were still a bundle of energy. And like, if they're bored out of their tree, they will find some other outlet for some other way to be bouncing off the walls. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've actually got to sort of put content on that engages with them and gets them interested, rather than
I mean, my solution to that would be simple: smaller class sizes, shorter school days, and paid teachers more. That would be my solution, but it's never going to happen.
Well,
because you're not attracting the best quality teachers because the pay is bad. Mm-hmm. The days are too long.
Yeah,
I mean, you compare the quality of person who goes for a teaching job in the UK to, say, Finland.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting point, because like the profession of teacher it's not held in particularly high esteem by people, is it? I mean,
it's a horrible job. It's a horrible job.
Yeah, and you're right. Look, I mean, I've knocked teachers in the past as a breed, right?
There's good and bad everyone.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I even in my time, it's a long time ago, and I don't know what it's like now. But I mean, lots of teachers phone it in, but lots of people phone it in all sorts of jobs.
People phone it in when they feel like they're being taken advantage of.
Well, that's one reason. That's one reason, or they might have just stopped caring for whatever reason. There's all sorts of there's all sorts of things.
You also got to think, what's the mental health of the people who do those jobs? There's other stresses. People have marriages that fail. There's a whole. I mean, it's a very, very complicated thing.
Oh, sure, yeah, sure, absolutely. But just, I mean, like, I remember back we mentioned we mentioned the Tony Blair era, when we were in the green room, and like there was a big thing about reducing class sizes back then. So like,
rightly so.
Yeah. So is it a big thing in terms of you get class sizes down to, if I could hit a button, how big would you want classes to be? 15 people, 20 people?
15.
Right.
15. I would say no bigger than 15. You can control the behaviour easily, which is a major thing. It's less workload when it comes to marking. You're just going to be a lot happier with 15 and under.
Right, and you can actually give individual attention to individual students as well.
Yeah. Also,
right.
We have this thing in Spain where if a kid's got a problem with something, they can come to you at lunchtime. You give them a bit of one-to-one help with it.
Right. So what? I'm just going to ask a very simple question, right? Be interested in how big do you think? The private schools typically have less than 20 people in a class.
Yeah, I would imagine so. That's what you're paying for. I mean, I wouldn't want to send a child to a private school either. I don't think they're particularly healthy. A boarding school rather.
It's two different things there. I'm not sure boarding schools are good. I mean, the reality is that people, including a lot of people who are hardly rich, right, are scrimping and saving to send their children to private schools, and there must be a reason why that is.
Well, getting a proper syllabus, a proper education. You're not getting left behind. There are toxic things like streaming. Where kids are put into sets, which is just corrosive. There's a whole list of things why they are better. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm just conscious we're going to wrap up on the workplace thing in a minute, but I'm all for some form of selection within schools. I mean, obviously, I benefited from being in high sets for pretty much everything.
You did.
I know I did. So I'm coming in for a biased position, but. We'll level with you.
I'm against them intensely, and I come from a country where they don't exist. And within this country, the broad average, I'd say promedio, as they say here, on average, people come out of the Spanish education system much better prepared for the world than they do coming out of the British education system.
But so, do you think? Right, I'll ask you about that in a second. But do you think that actually, look, something that didn't happen to me, right? So, in a way, yes, I was kind of insulated because I was around fairly bright kids nearly all the time.
Yeah.
And so I never had to deal with. I don't know, the people who had ADHD are the ones who never did any work, or they
ones probably suffering at home as well.
Yeah, or
they are children.
Right, or people who just weren't very bright and could barely write or add up, or do you know what I mean? So I never had to come into contact with that. In a selfish way, that was good for someone like me, right? On an individual level. Do you think there's a social aspect to that? Because at the end of the day, right? If I'd had a mixed ability class.
I mean, I was too. So
sorry?
I benefited from it too. It's just now I work within the education system. I'm intensely against it.
Right. Because I'm just thinking back.
Because I'm just thinking of people that aren't me, people who perhaps are suffering, perhaps have a parent with us who is suffering with substance abuse, perhaps have a parent who is abusing them, perhaps are from an economically disadvantaged family. All that basically within your brain, if you think of it like a computer, all that other stress, all that other bandwidth within your brain that should be dedicated to education is being taken up by other things, which then limits your ability to solve academic problems.
Yeah, but that could be happening to a high achieving kid as well.
It could, but it invariably doesn't, because the kids that are suffering at home, the bandwidth, that takes up so much bandwidth within the brain that by the time they get to school, actually getting to school itself, waking up, getting dressed, getting the stuff on, turning up at school ready to go is an achievement in itself.
All right, yeah, look, I take your point, and I'm just look. There are like logistical challenges. So maybe you can talk through some of them. So let's say, but I'm talking in the British context. So
okay,
let's go.
I'm going to be, again, I said I wasn't going to go into anecdotes, but I will. And I'm not going to name names, places, anything like that. Right. I was teaching in a place, and I'm not going to say what year. And there was a child that was being problematic, displaying challenging behaviour within the class. And the mum came in because she'd been getting emails, and we had a chat. And she was a really nice lady. And she said, "Look, just contact me if there's anything else I can help you with." I said, "Likewise. I'll you contact me if there's anything that I can help you with. I'm here to help you and your child achieve the full academic potential." And a really nice lady. Anyway, we broke up for we had like I remember we had like a Christmas play, and we broke up for Christmas. And first day back on the job in January, I come back, first day back on the job. Head teacher comes in, speaks to me, and says, "I've got something really horrible to tell you." And straight away I'm thinking, "Oh fuck, what am I going to get in trouble with something?" And basically what had happened is the mother of this child, the really nice lady that I'd spoken to, had had a domestic, they'd been sat at the dinner table, the mum, the dad, well, he was the stepdad, the little girl that I was teaching, and they'd had an argument, a domestic, as parents often do, and he'd stabbed her in front of the kid.
Oh shit!
And that explained. Now that wasn't a random thing. There would have been arguments building up to that, and that was just general. But that kid who was struggling in school was clearly going through a lot at home. And the bandwidth within the brain was being taken up by that. And but I mean, it's that kind of thing that changes your outlook on academic.
Right, yeah. So you're from a practical point of view, then. Let's say. So do you have like completely mixed ability sets over mixed ability groups over there?
Yes.
So.
But children, it's made very clear. It's made very clear what the target is, and it's made very clear what they need to reach that target, the minimum level, and they generally reach the minimum level. And the ones that exceed it also exceed it.
Right. Yeah. But so let's say, I don't know. Like, do you do obviously if you were doing, say.
I teach people in the same class as people who are a very high level.
Right. So if you had like let's say I'm also thinking in a British context. So let's say you were you were doing English literature, and you were doing something like Shakespeare, say.
Yeah.
Do you see the potential? I'm just seeing a potential problem where like the gap in ability to in terms of like interpretation. You might be doing poetry or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, the gap in terms of interpretation between the best people in that classroom and the worst is going to be enormous, right? And it's how you sometimes. No, so perhaps I'm being naive. It's how do you teach the same lesson to all those people? Am I making sense?
You don't. You can have 2 or 3 lesson plans within the same lesson.
Right.
So you have 2 or 3 different, like you can have several different plans for the same class, because on my lesson plan, potential problems, how you're going to solve those problems, and I will have. I sometimes I can teach 2, 3, even 4 classes within one class.
Right.
If you want to do it like that, you just need a better quality of teacher.
Right. So is that like So is that sort of like people who are going up like a higher level, intermediate level, and whatever the foundation level, and you've almost got 3 lessons within one. So there's a kind of right. So there is a kind of and obviously you're going to make a value judgment about where people are at based on previous work and things like that. So there is a kind of de facto selection going on. They're just not in separate classes.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
The stigma of you're a bottom set kid, which is so corrosive to a child's self-esteem.
Yeah. To some of them, yes. I imagine others don't care. I'm just trying to think. To be fair, academically, the school I went to was quite good. But I'm just trying to think of, I know people who were in those, those bottom groups, and some of them did really care and did want to sort of do better. And there were others who, you're right. There might be circumstances. These were the ones who were, slipping out of school at lunchtime and getting high. You know what I mean?
A lot of kids just don't have a chance. A lot of kids just don't have a chance. And as a teacher, you have to see it as your role to give them a chance.
Yeah, well, it's a noble outlook. Do you have these conversations with other teachers? Do they agree with you, or do they see things differently? Or
I personally don't talk to other teachers about much if I can help it.
Right. Okay.
I just kind of keep to myself.
Segues back into a chat about the workplace, really, and we're going to be
Yes, I have done. Unions and things like that. I have done. And it's worryingly, there's some teachers that are quite. They're nearly always British. Well, yeah, they are always British. That are quite sort of. They're almost like Nietzsche. They believe in that Darwinian outlook.
That's social Darwinism, right? Yeah.
If there is someone that does believe in that, they're British. They're almost never French or Spanish. The other nationalities I work with, they are. But you would never get that from a French teacher or a Spanish teacher. It's British.
Yeah, look.
It's just English basically. English, yeah.
Yeah, or possibly American. Yeah.
I've known a lot American teachers. The ones I've known are actually decent. Actually, I have to say, I've never had a bad experience with American teachers.
Right. Okay. You've never had a bit.
I mean, the Americans I've met, I've always got on with very well.
Yeah, it's been played, a little bit flippant. I'm sure. My favourite American teacher is.
It's anecdotal evidence; it counts for nothing.
Yeah, my favourite. There is actually a teacher in The Simpsons called Mr. Largo, but my favourite is Mrs. Krabappel. She's so funny.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's representative of somebody who is overworked and underpaid. You know?
Yeah, I know. But does Bart bring in the? Does he bring a bottle? Does he bring a bottle of like sherry or something into the school for some reason? Like, for some purpose.
Yeah.
And she confiscates it, and she goes, "You can have what's left at the end of the day."
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're right
I mean,
in the sense that
I also have to be clear, I'm not a typical teacher. I'm somebody who fell into it rather than.
yeah, for sure. I mean, like you're right. You know, that's a classic depiction of somebody who is like fed up and a little bit broken, isn't it? And you know, and started phoning it in years ago, right? But there are reasons why she did. I mean, The Simpsons is interesting because like it used to be a lot funnier than it's been for. We've had The Simpsons chat before, I'm sure.
It used to be funny.
Yeah, it used to be funny, but the other thing about The Simpsons, it was very interesting. Like you'd have things like, where she's looking for where Bart pretends to be. Does he reply to Edna Krabappel's Lonely Hearts Ad, and he kind of plays with her. And it's kind of there's a cruelty, then he realises the cruelty of what he's done. And there's the one with Bart and Lisa when they both take up ice hockey, and it's quite heartfelt, when they agree to call the game a draw at the end. And like it was a show with a great heart, I think, and there was a lot of empathy running through it. With the original people who wrote it, that's one of the things that went out of the show when a lot of the original team.
Homer died, didn't he?
Homer, the guy who played it.
The actor who originally voiced him.
Oh right, but Homer was. I mean, even Homer. He was a bit of a dumbass, and he did daft things, and he could be, and he had his fables, his foibles, for gluttony and stupidity and all sorts of other things, but he had a good heart deep down, right? The original Homer, and then at some point. Sorry?
With the new Homer, they made him like too silly.
Yeah, the jerk-ass Homer, they call him. Yeah, he's just an idiot. And he hasn't got any of the redeeming qualities of the original Homer. And the thing is with somebody like that, yes, he can be impulsive and stupid and he does daft stuff, but his heart was actually in the right place, so you forgive him a lot. Do you know what I mean? It's like...
His priorities was basically, he was someone whose priority was somebody else. It was his family. It wasn't himself.
Yeah. He just had this sort of, had this knack for putting his foot in it and doing it. But obviously, we got. It's. I could watch '90s Simpsons all day long. I could. But I wouldn't watch.
The episode where it started going bad, I think, where they copied a magic realist book, and I can't remember the name. It was an Argentinian book about a guy who was killed in the Falklands War, and then I think we've said this on. I think we've said this on air actually before. This was the fake Seymour Skinner one, wasn't it? Yeah, but it was copied out of an Argentinian magic realist book that I can't remember the name of.
Right. Yeah, it was lame, and I think
was killed by the British.
Yeah,
and then he steals his friend's identity, and I'm sure we've mentioned this before, actually. Yeah, but the thing with that one was that it's a terrible retcon, isn't it? So that's the thing about, we're talking about like emotional resonance. Yeah.
Like Seymour Skinner, right? he's a character who, yes, he's he's an old fusspot, and he's got this kind of authoritarian attitude, and he's a bit of a.
Sorry, I'm just moving the chair.
Right. Okay. I wonder what that was then, but and he's kind of he's stuffy, and he's got no sense of fun, has he? Right? He's but he's actually a good man. Again, he's actually a good man deep down, isn't he? And he kind of simultaneously, Bart and him are kind of the kind of sworn enemies. But at the same time, he does actually want to help and guide him. He wished he could help and guide him.
Yeah. And he's also got Superintendent Chalmers breathing down his neck.
Yeah, and his mother as well. His tyrannical mother, right? And like, so you kind of. There's a feeling of actually you kind of quite like him, and you feel a bit sorry for him as well.
Yeah.
And like by introducing this other guy, the real Seymour Skinner, right? You've blown all that out of the water. That's all the investment that you've made as a viewer in that character is null and void. And by the way, it's a bit like, funnily enough, in the world of wrestling. Remember they tried the fake Razor Ramon and the fake Diesel characters, right?
Well, they thought they could rewrite them like in soap opera when they recast characters with different actors.
Yeah, watching a few episodes of Brookside, and like there's a point at which was it Leo, Mick Johnson's son?
Yeah.
The actor playing Leo changes. like well, you think we didn't notice, right? Yeah, and like if the problem with that is that if you can do it to him, well, why don't we? I don't know. Who else is a fake character, or why don't we just like we can write anything, we can write anything, we can replace anybody, and nobody means anything anymore. So you're right, it upset the the flow and the arc of the show and the love of the characters,
Yeah.
It did have a great line in that episode, though. There is a wonderful, wonderful line where Armand, as we now find out his real name is Armand, is in his room, isn't he? And they go up to see they go up to see him and persuade him to come back. And he said, "My name's not Seymour, it's Armand." He goes, "This is Armand's flat." He goes, "This is Armand's bed. This is Armand's bag of frozen peas and Armand's copy of Swank." and Homer goes, "Can I borrow a copy of Swank, Armand?" Oh dear, yeah. I think you can work out what kind of magazine Swank is, can't you? Right. Yeah. You don't read that one for the articles, do you? Right, but. Yeah, I mean, we could have just had a quick wrap up on the workplace thing, weren't we? So, I mean, one of the great things that Aaron Knightley says, and it really does make me laugh, because I was such a fool for this when I was younger, and I would absolutely flog myself, and I would do 12-hour days and things like that.
Yeah, silly.
I was monumentally stupid. Was I any better thought of for doing so? Evidently not. And I won't do it again because, like, it probably did have an impact on my health. Because if you're that stressed out, mate, what do? You go to the pub afterwards. And you have 4 pints or a bottle of wine or something, because you need to come down from it.
It's why culture is so prevalent in industries like bricklaying.
Yeah, but at least in bricklaying, at least you'll get paid for the overtime, I think.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I mean, we were talking about unpaid overtime here as well. I mean, look, if you want to do paid overtime because you've got a holiday to pay for, or or it's a kid's birthday coming up, that's up to you. I have no objection. I have no problem at all with people. It's not for me to object on a problem, but you know what I mean. I can totally understand why someone would do paid overtime. Because they might need the money. But yeah, I was watching that Aaron Knightley video, and he was saying, it's not people like doing what I was doing. They're not the ones who get on. You're saying,
yeah,
it's the ones who get Domino's in on Christmas Eve. It's the ones who go to Costa and get the coffees. It's the one who laughs at the boss's bad jokes. Yeah, it's the one who's on the top table at the Christmas party or on the night out.
Yeah.
And guess what? They do practically nothing, right? And they're the one who gets on, not you.
Worse, with some bosses, they really hate it when you're showing difference to them.
Well, I think this has come up a few times in my working life. I mean, we won't go into war stories, but something that's come up a few times to me is, you've known me for a long time. I acknowledge authority, right? And I respect its existence. I'm not like some sort of anarchist. The workplace can't be a democracy. It's not a democracy, and it wouldn't work if it was. I mean, I've seen enterprises where it was run under some sort of like almost like some sort of hippie commune. Everybody was equal, and right. And guess what happened? It didn't work. It went bust within 12 months, right? You do need people to make decisions, and that includes decisions that some people don't like. Yeah, but I think what you're describing is a conflation. So there's that, which is fine. And that's never not been in my head. And then there is what you think of that person as an individual, right?
Yeah.
And you do get managers who they demand almost like a kind of adoration from their people. They demand they're like a kind of slavish, it's like very cult-like a kind of slavish devotion. And they can't see the difference between, what you think of them on a personal level. Look, it's fine. You'll have numerous bosses in your life, Largo. I'll let you come in a sec.
Yeah.
And you'll like some of them and not others, right? And you'll like some of them a lot more than others. And that's fine. Yeah. I mean, but and I'm perfectly happy. I'm perfectly happy working for somebody who I wouldn't necessarily be mates with in real life. The problem is when that demand goes in, almost like love me or else.
Yes.
Yeah. you know what about and then because you don't necessarily feel the way they think you should feel about them, they conflate that with insubordination. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that you've got an attitude or something. That's what you were saying about indifference. I don't think. I'm sure you're like me in a sense. You don't have a problem with having a boss or anything like that. Although, it's not that you are being insubordinate. It's that maybe, look, I've had some cracking bosses as well. I've had great relationships with. It's a mixed bag, isn't it?
There's good and bad in everyone.
Yeah.
It's like good teachers, bad teachers. There's good plumbers, bad plumbers.
Therapists, police officers, whatever. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, whenever I go to my doctor, I always get the vibe that she couldn't care less. It's good and bad in everyone.
Right. Yeah. Well, you mean that she doesn't sort of. Well, I suppose as a doctor, you mean that she doesn't have any kind of personal empathy. Well, I suppose as long as. No, as long as she makes the right diagnosis and gives the right advice. And
I'm not asking for empathy. I'm asking, for some medication or something.
Correct. To be fair, it's not her job to be your friend, is it?
No.
And God, yeah, I'm sure we both spent
diagnosis. I'm happy.
Yeah, we both spent lots of time in the doctors, and guess what? You'll meet many doctors over your lifetime. And some of them you can actually have a bit of a giggle with, and you can have a conversation with, and others are just there to diagnose you and send you on your way. It's fine. If you get a doctor like that, don't take it personally. That's basically it. If you're a manager at work and you get an employee like that who just wants to come in, do their job, and go home, right? and doesn't want to be a member of your little gang, right?
That's why you finish. That's why I like Spain. You finish on the dot, and they don't call it quiet quitting.
No, I mean, right?
It has that word, quiet quitting.
Yeah. Look, it's well, look, yeah. What Aaron was saying, you could be at the clocking out machine 4 minutes before your shift ended, and guess what I was doing 4 minutes and 30 seconds before my shift ended? I was switching my computer off, and I was on my way.
Yeah.
And that's fine. And there's and this is the thing though, Largo. If it was the people busting their nuts off who were getting on, the people who are quote showing willing, right?
Yeah.
Then you could understand the argument for doing extra. If the outcomes were actually panning out that way.
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing that I've noticed is you get people. This happens a lot with senior people, and you hear about how like the long hours that they work, right? And that's true, right? But there's a big difference actually between going to work and actually being productive and useful and doing something, right? And sitting at a laptop for 10 hours telling other people to do things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was big. Like, yes, I get that you work a 12-hour day, but what are you doing in the 12 hours? It's.
Would you get it done in 6, 8?
Well, where I used to work, where I used to work about 20 years ago, I remember. That was a good guy. I could write a book about my time there, and there was a thing where they opened a new warehouse, and there was a thing where there'd be these games and things would go. Everything went wrong. As is often the case when you have something new, whether it's a new warehouse, new computer system, whatever, it goes wrong, right?
Yeah.
And there was this fallout from it, and it was affecting the bottom line, no question. There was like a cabal, and there seemed to be hundreds of managers there as well, which was another problem. When you've got that thing of you've got too many managers and not enough boots on the ground. That's a big common problem, particularly in corporate organisations.
Yeah.
But they were sending these emails amongst themselves, and they were basically to the effect of, "It's not my fault, it's his fault." And then somebody else would write back, and they go, "No, it's not my fault. It's John Smith's fault. No, it's not my fault. It's not my fault. It's Largo's fault. It's Daz's fault." And this would go on for fucking hours. And like, this is what you're doing all day. Yeah. When you go on about how hard you're working and the long hours you're doing, but you're spending them doing this. This isn't moving the business any further along. I mean, my take on it is that I think we have lots of conversations offline as well about this and other things. I think this isn't a sustainable system, Largo. I don't think it is. I think it will destroy itself from the inside. I'll explain why I think that in a minute. Have you got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think work has become so unpleasant. People just don't want it. I think maybe 30, 40 years ago, like if you look at the coal miners' strike, for example, people wanted to work. Like those guys clearly wanted to go to work, whatever you think of them. Now, people just don't want to work anymore. Now, you could say that's because they're lazy, or you could say that's because workplaces have just become so insufferable.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there was a golden age of work like there was a golden age of anything else.
People used to be able to go to work, put a shift in, and go home and forget about it. That's gone.
I think it's like a lot of things on Largo. I think like systems eventually get gamed. I mean, I don't know what the workplace was like prior to 2000 when I started working. Obviously I had part-time jobs and things like that, but they're not quite the same. but I think there's been the rise of the rise of the political mover in workplaces is like a fairly modern phenomenon. I don't think you used to get them to anything like the same extent. Just from speaking to older people, dare say that.
Yeah.
You didn't used to get the people playing politics in the workplace to anything like the extent that they do now. The political operator.
No.
And I think that's a big part of the problem because they're ruining it for everybody else. Those people, they ruin work for everybody else. But.
Yeah, I think as well. I never really romanticized the idea of work. I never really had a job I wanted to do. I never really wanted to work. If I'm going to put it bluntly.
No, I mean, it's something I've gone through phases where it's got me down. In terms of work, I've been very close to.
I never idealized, or what's the word I'm looking for? Like they make it look, when you're at school and you're getting ready for work experience, they make work look like this noble, heroic thing, and I just didn't get that at all. I just didn't see it that way at all.
No, I can see that, and it's.
If anything, it made me feel a bit violated.
Yeah, I mean, I think I know what you mean because it's like and companies do this a lot. They induce this sort of false sense of vocation. I know what you mean, and like this. At the end of the day, if you're paying
work kind of limited intelligence, but it was never going to work on me.
No, but I've always thought this. Come on, right? If you're paying somebody the minimum wage to work in Sports Direct, what the hell do you want? I was talking to some people who work for Sports Direct not long ago, and I'm like, they do what to you? Like the discipline and the threat of dismissal hovering over your head and the fear, yeah. Just like I was like, but it's a young lad and a young woman. I think they were a couple. I don't know, and I'm like, but you're like 19, and dare I say, I don't need to know, but you won't be getting paid a huge amount of money, right?
Gosh.
Like, what the hell do they want from you?
Yeah.
It's not the army or prison.
Yeah.
And I can see that thing about you're right about that false sense of vocation. You mentioned the hero, this false sense of heroism about going to work and no, I mean.
Like, British people are the worst for it. Like, you don't hear it in Spanish or in Spain. Yeah, I'm a taxpayer. The taxpayer. It's like, so what? Literally, a 10-year-old who goes to the shop and buys a Lion bar is a taxpayer. So what? You are a taxpayer. Like, and what? Like, I don't care. Like, it's boring. I'm a taxpayer. Oh, shut up, you windbag.
Oh, lovely. That's what. And here's Jess with the weather. Yeah. No. It made me smile because I think I mean you do. I mean that's a kind of a that's kind of a phenomenon of the I think it was Al Murray who said a piss out of that on the TV. I'm part of the hard-working, decent majority in this country. And I'm telling you, I don't want to pay my speeding fines.
No.
I'm the voice of the silent majority. Now, having spoken, I no longer remember. Go on.
It's just when Brits go on about being a taxpayer, I'm like, oh, so it's like what? Like, oh, I'm a pavement user. Like, oh, for God's sake, I'm a motorist. Oh, shut up. Like, drive a car. You're not part of some ethnic minority. It's like, oh. You
Well,
drive. I speak for motorists. Like, oh.
Who appointed this person?
Yeah. Yes.
Did he win an election or something? Invariably not, right?
Oh, the motorist. Blah, 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 blah.
I mean, there's all sorts of debates to be had about what we do with public money and whether public money is wasted, how much it's spent badly, and things like that. You know, but I think, your point about but that's a kind of angry Burma thing that's been going on for a while. And actually, the funny thing is that the people who go on about it the loudest have actually done quite nicely out of this country. These are the people who who were on the property ladder at the right time. They had jobs that one job could pay enough to feed a family. Yeah,
they got passive income and
the ones who went to uni didn't pay for it. Yeah, they went for free. Yeah, they had utility bills they could afford. There was, you could get a trolley full of shopping for a sensible amount of money. These people were not hard done by. These are the people who had the very, very best of this country, actually, and did nicely.
Nice.
So and are now, interestingly enough, are now advocating that. The moaning about how shit it is. Well, not for them, it is. It never was for them.
No.
That's. That's what. Yeah. So on this workplace thing, have you got anything else to add just before we wrap up and then move on to something else?
No. If I ever move back to the UK, I will probably be a benefits claimant.
Now, as a taxpayer, I don't like that.
Whether you like it or not,
I'm joking.
It's just that's the.
Did you? Largo. No, but we probably right. I was being ironic.
Yeah, no.
As a taxpayer, I mean, it's sad to hear you say that in a narrow sense. That because you're an intelligent man, and I don't.
I don't think there's anybody worthy of my talents.
That's I'm not using my talents during the day. I mean, I obviously look at work as.
I don't think anybody deserves me. I'm too good for it. Frankly.
Bless you. Well,
I'm not lowering myself to them. I've done it before, and underappreciated, underpaid. No, I'm not doing it.
What would you say? What would you? I mean, I presume there's millions of people in the country who feel like you do, but do work, right?
I don't know.
There will. Yeah, there's lots of unhappy people. Lots of people are unhappy in the job. Millions of them. I'm sure of it. But I mean, I think one of the big problems. I don't think either of us have got this. Is I was just thinking about this earlier today. Was when I've thought about some of the most strange characters I've had to deal with in my life. One of the things that they had in common was that they had a curious lack of hobbies or interests. They weren't into anything.
No.
Yeah. Right? And very often when you get these people who work ridiculously long hours, or they put far too much emphasis on the workplace as well. It's because of nothing else. So I mean, over time, I've come to the view that, well, look, maybe work is just a vehicle. It's just a vehicle to put money in your pocket, and you can do the things you want to do out of work, and don't bust your nuts off. Don't do loads of unpaid time. Just do your job. Be good at your job, but don't don't take it too seriously and don't become emotionally invested in it. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry?
I'd
say that's good advice.
Yeah. Don't look at it like. Don't look at it like like it's not a football team. You don't win trophies and like you have a massive celebration or anything. You know what I mean? It's not like.
I hate it when they do that. I hate it when they do that.
This isn't like Man United when they won the treble. You don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that'd be my take on it, really. I mean, the other thing we were talking about, and it was interesting to chat to a gentleman. So I just went to my local actually the afternoon. Ran into a gentleman who originally he told me he lived in Italy. Right, he lived in Italy, and we got talking about Italian football. He lives in Emilio Reggiano, where Reggiano, right? The team player in the room.
Yeah.
Not Reggiano, right? Taffarelli used to play golf for them, and yeah, so they're his local team. He goes to watch them sometimes, and we were talking about Italian ultras and Italian football culture, and when it was on Channel 4 and stuff like that. Top guy, absolutely top guy. Yeah, it's great when you meet someone like that in a pub as well, isn't it? It's just wonderful when you meet somebody. You talk to them for a couple of hours, and we got on to it. And he lives in Italy, and but we were talking about all like. Yeah, I mean, like the other one that we had in common is like neither of us like tiki-taka football, right? I find it boring. I find it boring. And get the ball wide and get it in the box. People don't want to see defenders, knocking the ball amongst themselves for 7 minutes at a time. And it was Graham Taylor who was saying this in an interview that look, if you ask fans what they want to watch, they want to watch goal chances. That's basically they want to see the ball in the penalty area and shots and goals or saves or blocks on the line or whatever. They want to see action. But then when we were talking, he mentioned he was from Ballymoney, which is in Northern Ireland. And he mentioned he was a Catholic as well, right? So we went from football. So the segue from football to this other thing was. I asked him, do you support the North or the South at football? He said, well, a lot of Northern Irish Catholics won't touch the Northern Ireland national team. Because, Neil Lennon retired from international football because didn't he get like bullets in the post or death threats or something? Yeah. He was going to captain Northern Ireland in a match against Cyprus, and he got some sort of threatening phone call or something like that.
Yeah,
and he never played for them again. So that kind of segued on got into just a brief conversation about the other things that happened in Northern Ireland historically, and it was interesting to listen to what he had to say about what I've always thought is that. Like a lot of it had nothing to do with religion or politics. A lot of it was just criminality masquerading as something else. And I asked him about this. He said, "Yeah, well, basically, a lot of them were like gangsters. They're like mafia or something."
They'd be doing crime anyway.
Yeah. So a lot of these, on both sides of the fence, he said a lot of these people are villains essentially, and they'll be running things like drug dealing, prostitution, protection rackets, committing robberies, things like that, and a lot of them would be criminals. And it was, I said basically, there was a film about it called Ordinary Decent Criminal, and it was about a guy. If you remember, it was a guy who was, I think did he do robberies and things like that, but he was in Northern Ireland, but he was nothing to do. He wanted nothing to do with that stuff. Yeah. And they came to see him a few times, and he said he wanted, he said, I'm just an ordinary decent criminal, You know, you never heard of any random crime because there's no need to. I mean, the sad thing about all that was that the Troubles gave people an outlet for criminality as well. So, like, if I could just go into the psychology of it for a second. So, you'll meet people who are the salt of the earth and would never do anything bad. You meet them occasionally, right?
Yeah.
They're just wonderful. And then you meet other people like Oscar Pistorius and Marlon King, the footballer, right? And you can give them a nice life and they can have everything go their way and they're still going to find a way to be a piece of shit, right?
Yeah.
Right? Because that's just what they're like. Yeah. It doesn't. You can be dead nice to them. You can give them all the outcomes they say they want. Yeah. And it might make it worse actually. Right. Most people are kind of, up to some extent, are capable of going either way. Most of us are more good than bad, I think. But if you put us in the wrong environment or in the wrong circumstances, it could bring out the very worst of us. We've all got a best and worst of us, haven't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it depends what your influence is, the energy of the room, all kinds of things.
Yeah, and I think that was the thing with the Troubles, mate. That
it was a bad environment, a bad atmosphere. There was bad role models.
Yeah.
It was an environment where bad things were the norm.
Yeah, and yeah, you're right about bad, but it's an environment in which bad people were glamorized and celebrated.
Yes.
And they were also given the false label of being, political operators and things like that. And they were just criminals. It's sad. The other thing being as well, I mentioned this point to my man. I hope I meet him again. I said, think about it sensibly for a minute, and there must be a decent majority of people, in Belfast or anywhere else who just are sick of this and don't want to be, because this has a knock-on effect on ordinary people, doesn't it? Their day-to-day lives. And I said, I'm sorry, if I was running a business, I was running a company, would I set up premises in Belfast? Would I? Hell, absolutely not. The place might get set on fire. You'd have people demanding protection money.
Didn't the BNP put their headquarters there for a bit?
Sorry?
Didn't the BNP put their headquarters in Northern Ireland for a bit?
There was a guy, that Jim Dawson guy was involved, wasn't he? He was based there.
Yeah.
I'll find that out. Yeah, I'd ask about this. I said, it must have knock-on effects on things in terms of, because you're right. I mean, protection rackets and extortion are still a thing. The old five at a mind your car thing, right? And I'm thinking, well, this has a knock-on effect on people who want to live productive lives. I was asking about I was explaining to them as well that over here there's been this myth for like 25 years that it's basically all sorted now. It's all peaceful. It's all gone away.
Yeah, it's not at all.
No, but I've never believed that because I always understood that there was a large element of it was, look, it was nothing to do with religion or politics. It was crime. They were just criminals.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
And there might have been a few who had like legitimate political reasons for being involved, but those few went all into legitimate politics and became they went and stood for election or something, right? An awful lot of it had, an awful lot of it was just criminality with politics and religion as a front for it.
There's a lot. I think the loyalists for sure were funded by drugs.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I mean, this is one of those things. Drug dealing was one of them. Prostitution was another. committing robberies. Yeah, these were all. These were. Remember that was the IRA have robbed a bank. I remember waking up one morning and putting the radio on. The IRA have robbed a bank.
The robbed post offices.
Yeah. And this is of course a kind of parasite class of people who are who are getting kind of easy tax-free income. Yeah, they're not taxpayers, are they? But it was a fascinating chat, lovely guy. I do hope I'll probably read them again. But yeah, I mean, he was explaining it to me. I said, like, even in he said in Ballymoney there's 5 pubs left, right? I said, are there pubs as a Catholic you can't go in? Yes. There are pubs, whatever side you're on. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Pubs are not free to all the population. They're not available. It might sound the door that they are.
Is that in South Armagh?
Ballymoney. Let's look on a map. Yeah, as I can see there, the Joey Dunlop Leisure Centre, that's there. Let's look at the map here. It's up near the top, isn't it? It's fairly up near the top.
Derry, near Derry, or
no, other end of Northern Ireland. So it's right. Hang on. No. London. Oh no. London Derry's there. It's across from. Yeah. No, you're right.
Yeah.
It's across from. It's across from London Derry. Yeah. It's sort of way up north. Way up north.
I've only ever been to Belfast a couple of times.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. So that's where. Yeah, I mean Belfast is the only city, isn't it? It's the only recognised city. Everything else is a town, I think. Yeah. But it. Yeah, he was saying that there were still pubs in there. There's a hotel that's changed hands. It's been on one side, and they had to sell it, and someone on the other side of the fence bought it, etc. And the people got in that hotel and never come out again. It was like a time and space vortex, right? I was like. No, I kind of knew that was the case, but it's yeah. When you said we're going to go back to Italy, I had people say to me, oh, I'm so glad all that stuff in your country's been sorted out. I'm so glad it's all over. I'm like, it isn't. No, right. Yeah. And the other point about the
dissidents as well.
Sorry.
You've got dissidents.
Yeah, you have. Yeah, and you've got people who think that like they don't believe in peace agreements and things like that. You've got the people on. You've got these splinter groups and what have you as well. You've got the nutters. And whether they are genuinely politically motivated or they're just criminals, they resent the day that the Good Friday Agreement. They hate the day that the Good Friday Agreement was signed. They see it as they use language like betrayal, don't they? You get this, yeah.
You've got Republican IRA. Sorry, Republican Sinn Féin and Sinn Féin.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
like a Sinn Féin that are like more extreme than Sinn Féin. Not that Sinn Féin are extreme. I'm just saying there is like an extreme version of Sinn Féin.
Yeah, it's like there was an old Patrick Kielty joke about that. You know, the new IRA, the real IRA, the I can't believe it's not the IRA, right? No. You know, yeah, these factions, they never wanted to sign a peace agreement with anybody, and you get it on the loyalist side as well. You know, you get, I've always, you know, like the DUP have always made me wince a little bit. But you get people who think that the DUP are a bunch of sellouts, and you know they don't. You know, these, you know. But we were talking. Yeah, you were talking actually just before we went on air. So what's this about the Garda anyway, and the possibility of a border poll coming up?
It was just it was something I was watching on BBC about talking about how the Garda would police loyalist areas, because it's like, it's obviously for them it's something they've never had to deal with before.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean,
suddenly their job got a heck of a lot more dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much we spend on policing. I mean, we've got very mixed thoughts about that question. I mean, you know, yeah, I don't think there is a solution to that was going to please everybody. There's going to be angry people regardless of which way you go. You know, and I know that there are people pushing for this border poll, aren't they? They want a referendum on it, don't they? Sinn Féin are agitating.
And they probably should be, to be honest.
Sorry?
I think they should be, to be honest.
Well, my man from today said, actually, what will happen is if that happens, then during the run up to it, and like regardless of the result, someone's going to be pissed off, and it's going to go off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say much more on this, but I hope it happens if Nigel Farage becomes Prime Minister.
If Nigel Farage becomes Prime Minister, we're going to have a whole myriad of new problems to deal with. But you know, I think you know. I was just talking to somebody about it last night, and he was saying, look, at the end of the day, the one thing that Reform have got and Farage has got in his favour is, to date, he's never been in charge of anything. Therefore, he's never effed something up, has he?
No.
And he's not one of the other two. Yeah. I mean, you know, my thoughts on it are that, you know, I think parties themselves are a big part of the problem. You know, it's an unconventional approach I've got to it, but yeah, you've now got you know people. I mean, our friend Simon from last week. There was one on his channel about when's this new nationalist political party going to set up? And I was like, what, another one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry?
Marketplace.
Yeah, it's it's like watching board blocks fight over a comb, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. But my section of politics, which is slightly to the left of that, we'll say, is just as bad. You know, it's just as crowded and just as useless. And I can only, I mean, my take on it would be, if you can form a group of 5 to 10 of you and your mates who've got a similar outlook on life and similar views, and you all contribute something, then get that group of 5 to 10 people moving. Start meeting regularly. Agree that 1 or 2 of you are going to run as independents and make it as an independent, and the rest of you will support in any way that you can. So that might be, someone might have a few quid in the bank, somebody might bring communication, they might be good at organising, they might be good at sorting out campaigns, they might have a venue that they've got access to. As long as everybody's contributing something,
Yeah.
That's another great problem with political parties, Largo, is that they actually encourage passive membership. I was criticising people last week for being passive, but to be fair, if you join a political party, you have to achieve some sort of position within it to do anything. If you're not in like a position in the party, all you are allowed to do is sit there and clap like a seal, right? You can't, you can't do anything. You can't contribute anything. They might use you. They might use you a bit like
I constantly rack my brains about the level or the lack of intelligence that people have who voluntarily give money and join Reform. Like, what are you getting out of that? Really? You don't even get a vote.
No, you don't. You don't get a vote in anything. You don't get a say in who the leader is.
You don't get to choose your experts. You don't. It's just a clown show.
You don't vote on motions at the party conference, do you?
No.
It's all decided by what side of the bed Nigel Farage got out of that morning. And what are you getting for your 25 quid? The other thing is, it's not officially a political party, Reform. It's a company, isn't it?
Company, yeah.
Right. So, the thing is, if he's telling the truth about his membership, then think about it. If he's genuinely got something in the hundreds of thousands of people paying 25 quid a time, he's coining it.
Oh yeah.
He is absolutely coining it. And guess what? There is no law that says it's a company, and guess what? People can wind up companies at any time. I don't have to explain why.
I don't feel sorry for the members. They're stupid enough to give him the money.
I think some well-meaning people have joined Reform. I would like you. I would question the wisdom and the intelligence of that decision. But some of them are well-meaning, and some of them are sort of patriots, and like I said, they're good people fundamentally. It's just like sorry.
They're good people, but they're useless.
Well, they're not going to. Yeah, I don't. Because what do your question? It's a multifaceted question. So, what do you get out of sending them 25 quid of your money and watching a party conference on TV or going maybe, I don't know, and doing nothing
for them, isn't it?
You'd have to ask individual people for their reasons, but it doesn't make any sense to me. I presume some of them think about like running as Reform candidates somewhere for the council, or they want to get elected, and they see Reform as a vehicle to do that.
Possibly.
I have watched a show called the Reform Party podcast,
right.
And it's interesting the number, because this is where it's all going wrong. That's why I'm saying like form a group of 5 to 10 people who are on the same page. In terms of policy, you don't have to agree about everything, but you have to be on the same page. And by the way, that independent person is an independent, and they will make their own. They will have their own policies. But you all go out, you all knock on doors, you all put leaflets together and promote them on social media and say vote for this guy, and you meet up and discuss strategy and how it's going and things like that. Because what we were saying, when you were saying about like you don't need 200,000 people. You don't need 200 people. For us to get one of us elected, we would need half a dozen people tops. We could do it.
Definitely.
To the council or something. We could do it with the help of 3 or 4 mates.
Yeah.
And the point, the thing is, your point. How many of those 200,000 people who Reform claim to have? How many of them are contributing anything or are allowed to contribute anything? How many of them are just sat in their armchair, clapping and saying they're going to vote? You're absolutely correct. But, you know, it's like I said to you, I can actually see him closing Reform down.
Flat packing it.
Yeah.
Why?
Something will happen.
Right.
Something will happen.
What do you think that something would be?
Well, it could be. I mean, the other thing that always seems to happen in far-right organisations is civil war. They always end up fighting amongst themselves. I'm sure you've noticed that as well.
Yeah. It does.
So that's everything he's ever been near.
I mean,
and he always,
with Rupert Lowe.
Yeah, it has, and it'll happen again. I mean, if he can't maintain harmony amongst a group of half a dozen people, imagine if he did have 350 MPs.
It'd be dreadful.
Yeah. What it made me was actually when I was watching this Reform podcast.
Yeah.
Even then, it struck me how disparate and out of kilter the views of some Reform candidates were with each other. You know,
in what way?
Well, you've got people who were like me, who had similar politics to mine, like paleo libertarians, right? And then you get people who were Tories, who were right, and then you get other guys who like in the not so distant past would have been solid Labour, right? Right, yeah. I mean, they've got people who used to be Liberal Democrats. They've got people who used to be Remainers and Rejoiners. Yeah, it's a mess. Yeah. Like if they end up with 350 MPs, but it's like that, and the how to put this, the sort of the political compasses of those 350 MPs are absolutely all over the place. How the hell do you hold them together? You know.
It's a hard one.
Go on.
I don't know. I don't know how you will hold them together, to be honest. I'd imagine, but then there's egos, isn't there? There's so many egos.
Yeah, I think the Farage-Lowe thing was fundamentally about ego and not policy.
100%.
I mean, Lowe. I was tempted to give Lowe a bit of and I did give Lowe a bit of an airing, if you will. And he was saying some very sensible things that are factually correct, such as that there's no policy, there's no detail, there's no, there's no coherent plan for if we did win an election, what would we actually do? It's just a load of white noise, and all that's true, right? All of that's true. But then he goes and launches a think tank. Why is he launching a think tank? What's the point? Who are they trying to influence? Because Reform can't stand him, right? The Tories aren't going to listen to the guy. And Ben Habib has got his own think tank and his own party, which is just greedy, isn't it, really? Right? So Rupert, who are you trying to influence, right? What? Go on.
I still think Rupert Lowe's keeping his seat next election.
I think he will. He's probably popular on a constituency level, and he does that. And he does that thing where he gives his salary to charity, which is kind of, not many people can afford to do that. But it's going to literally buy him some votes there.
Yeah.
He's but that restored Britain is just a bit of a joke, really, because there's like there's no in terms of what they're saying, there's no actual difference in terms of between them and Reform. There's no more detail. It's more vacuous white noise.
Yeah. Same as lot.
Sorry?
Same as Ben Habib's lot.
Yeah, I mean, is that fundamentally about the same thing as well? I mean, like,
basically,
I mean, Ben Habib didn't manage to get elected when 5 of the others did, and lost the. He was deputy leader, wasn't he, originally?
I think so.
And then Farage decided Tice was going to be that person.
Yeah.
And I mean, the other thing with Ben Habib is, I think of Ben Habib as like the rights version of Jeremy Corbyn, in the sense that. In the sense that, like, he's probably a very good speaker and a good activist.
But he's not a good.
As a political operator, as a leader, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And Corbyn was the same.
Hour and a half now.
We have, yeah. So do you want to wrap up fairly soon, or what do you want to do?
Yeah, can do.
Yeah, we'll do 5-10 minutes more if you want, but that's pretty much it for me. I'll go and do something.
No, that's it from me, really.
Yeah. So so that's I'll tell you what. Let's just find out how many members the Reform have. Let's how many do they claim they have?
200,000, isn't it? Be about 200,000 or something, I would say.
Is there a number there? 260,000 to claim. That's
Labour 300,000.
Labour have 309,000 as of February this year.
Yeah,
260,000.
How many of those they're getting from the trade union movement? And it's just sort of.
Well, I'll just be very, very quick this one because third place, the Conservatives, 123,000.
Yeah.
So that's dying. Literally dying, yeah. Right, actually, we'll go down. Right, fourth, Green Party, 112,000 members.
Yeah.
Probably buoyed by that new leader you like.
No, I didn't say I liked him. I said he's effective.
Yeah, I'm a bit biased because obviously I don't like his politics and his general worldview is going to switch me right off, as I'm sure you can imagine.
Yeah.
And I think I mean I have got a mate who is in the Greens. It happens, but I think it's almost cartoonish their policies and their thinking that we'll just tax more rich people. But the problem with rich people is they tend to be very good at like being mobile and getting away from whatever method you put in place. It's one of the big problems of the modern world, like is that actually
Denmark.
Sorry.
Strange how they managed to keep hold of them in Denmark.
And what's the top rate of tax in Denmark, though?
I don't know.
Right, it might not be terribly punitive. It might be perfectly reasonable. Green Party are fourth. Then a big drop to the Liberal Democrats. 60,000.
Yeah, but their vote will increase at the next election.
Yeah. The Scottish National Party 56k. Advance UK making it into the top 10, 35,000.
Wow, that's significant.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's right. But that's like a kind of political equivalent of FC United of Manchester. It's like are you pissed off with the Reform Party already? Right? So that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is that the seventh? Or actually the seventh biggest. And then you've got Cooperatives, Plaid, the Scottish Greens. Didn't realise they were separate. The Workers' Party of Britain. Is that Galloway's lot?
Yeah. Workers' Party GB.
Yeah. Right, Alba. That was what's his face? Alex Salmond's second party, wasn't it? UKIP, Socialist Worker, English Democrats. I'm going right down the list. Oh, the Communist Party. They had just under 2,000 members as of the end of 2023.
2,000 members they had. Wow.
Yeah. And even there you go. This is very Wolfie Smith, isn't it? And there's a revolutionary communist party. It's very right. Right. Yeah. And there is there is as well. There is still the demonstrating Looney Party. They are still going. Do you remember screaming Lord Such, Largo?
I do. Yeah, he was also a mad candidate with the party.
Yeah. Cool. Right. So there's nothing else from you then tonight, no?
No, nothing from me, Paul.
Right. Let's get ourselves a cracking guest for next week. That can be my challenge. I will reach out to a few people who'll be coming back for the second time, maybe.
Cool.
All right, mate. Thanks for being on, mate. And we'll go grab yourself a glass of wine or something. All right.
I will do, mate. Sure.
Cheers, mate. See you later.